Hey everybody, I hope you had a good weekend. I just wanted to talk real quick about the full moon and what's coming up because I get a lot of questions about why I do parasite cleanses on the full moon. Because I do mention often that I pretty much only do them on the full moon. You don't have to do them on the full moon, but a lot of people are kind of like, okay, I'm not listening anymore after I say something about the full moon because they think that that's either like superstition or it's some kind of old wives' tale or it's witchy or whatever. But actually, I studied engineering as a college student. I'm very scientifically minded and I look at the science. And the reason that I do parasite cleanses over the full moon is because I believe that's when they are most effective. Scientifically speaking, that's just basically the facts. There's a lot of research and science to back that up. So my understanding of parasites is basically that we can get them from almost anywhere. We're exposed through air, water, food, from the ground, the dirt, the soil, lots of places, lots of foods we eat. We're exposed to parasites and parasite eggs, such as even vegetables, such as and that kind of thing. So I think that a lot of people think, okay, well, there's a lot of parasites in pork, so I'm not going to eat pork. And I think that that is wise, that if you know that there's something that pretty much always has a lot of parasites in it, that you would avoid that food. That makes sense, right? It's good to try to limit our exposure to parasites, but I do think that it's not possible to completely avoid the exposure to parasites and that it is inevitable that we will be exposed to parasites and that we will get parasites in our bodies. So I think that for the most part, we just need to come to grips with that fact and we need to recognize that we are humans, we are mammals, and we will have parasites, and we do have parasites. And so we just have to have the mindset around, like, what do I do about it, right? Like, how do I heal? They're causing these problems in my body. They're causing physical, mental, emotional problems in my body. They can cause all kinds of problems, and I think that they cause most, if not all, disease. So I think that we ignore them at our peril. I think that we need to really come to grips and face the reality that we do have parasites and that there's things that we can easily do about the parasites too. So we need to have a balanced perspective. We need to know that we can't completely avoid them. We're going to have them, and that there's something that we can always do about it, and that we can have like a mindset around those facts, right? So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. So my understanding is that we're constantly exposed to parasites and parasite eggs. So it's a thing, like we have them in our bodies and we just have to like address that fact, right? So my understanding is that so already we've got parasites. Let's just recognize that. And then my understanding is that over the full moon, for several reasons, because number one, there's more light, right? So in the middle of the night, there's more light. So our bodies are creating less melatonin. Basically, I don't want to get too far into the weeds here, but our gut bacteria produces neurotransmitters like serotonin that are shuttled via the vagus nerve into the brain, and these are the brain chemicals that need to be balanced in order for us to have good mental health. So probably know that serotonin is the happy hormone, or the happy brain neurotransmitter. Serotonin is very important for mental health, and if, for example, you have gone into the doctor and said, I'm feeling very sad or I'm feeling very anxious or panicky, he might tell you that your body isn't making enough serotonin and give you an SSRI medication to recycle the serotonin, because it's just kind of treated like, well, if you're not making enough serotonin, too bad, so sad, here's a med to fix it, right? But the thing is, we can make more serotonin because it's produced in the gut by bacteria. So that's a kind of a different topic, which I can talk about if anybody's interested. But so the parasites in our body are actually sensitive to the production of hormones in our bodies and the levels of different things like serotonin and melatonin. Okay, so parasites like serotonin. And when the moon is full, there's more light, okay? So the absence of light or darkness is what triggers our brain to take serotonin and convert it to melatonin. Okay. So this is kind of just getting into the weeds a little bit, but it's like the chemical processes that happen in our body. Our bodies are amazing. I'm constantly in awe of like how many things our bodies do without us even understanding it or knowing what's happening. But basically serotonin is produced in the gut, it goes to the brain, and then when it gets dark outside, the absence of light triggers the brain to convert the serotonin to melatonin. So you've probably heard of melatonin because you might have taken it if you have had trouble sleeping. And it's sort of, it's thought of as a natural sleep aid. It's not supernatural, but it's a thing. So I'm sure you've heard of it. But the brain is supposed to produce melatonin, and it's supposed to produce it from the serotonin in our bodies. So if we are lacking melatonin, then it could be that we lack enough serotonin, which is produced in the gut, or that our brains are not efficiently converting serotonin to melatonin with darkness. Okay. Anyway, the parasites can sense when we have more serotonin or melatonin in our bodies, and they like serotonin. So the increased levels of serotonin and the decreased levels of melatonin prompt the parasites to migrate in our bodies. So they could be anywhere. They could be in our muscles, our joints, our organs, our brains, our blood, our liver, anywhere. Okay. Bladder, anywhere. Okay. And so the parasites then are triggered to migrate to the gut lining. So they go into the gut and they lay eggs. So every full moon, because of these chemical hormonal processes happening in our bodies, the parasites get signals to migrate to the gut and lay eggs. Okay. So this is why I think it's most effective to do a parasite cleanse during the full moon, because of that whole process. So basically, you're going to get more parasites because they're all in one spot, right? So you're going to be able to more effectively target them and kill them and flush them out because they're all in the gut, right? So if you do a parasite cleanse at another time of the month, you can do it, but you just might not get as many because they're not all in one spot. So it's kind of very practical reasons that I'm doing these parasite cleanses during the full moon. I figure if you're going to go to all the effort to do a parasite cleanse, let's do it when it's most effective, right? So that's why I schedule them around a full moon. And I also do them in a group. So if you're on Facebook, head over there and look up The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. That whole title, The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. And that's the group that I lead a group cleanse once a month during the full moon. So you can learn about it. You can jump in when you feel like it. You don't have to do it at any specific time. We don't do it every month. Like we do it as a group every month, but everyone doesn't do it every month, right? Like you just choose whenever you want to do it. So jump over to that group if you want to join in a group parasite cleanse once a month on the full moon. It's The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal Facebook group. I've also linked to it in my profile if you want to just click a link and go join. So you can request to join, just put a little reason you want to join so I know you're not a bot or something, and I'll let you into that group. So welcome, and I hope you come on over. So that's one of the reasons that I do a parasite cleanse during the full moon. It's because the parasites migrate to the gut and they start to lay eggs. So for most of the month, and there's like thousands of different types of parasites. So I'm generalizing here, right? Like there are different types that do different things and have different ways that they are. But generally speaking, a lot of the parasites like to migrate to the gut during the full moon and lay eggs. So number one, they're all concentrated in the gut, or a lot of them are, right? So it's easier to target and kill and flush them out. Number two, they are getting ready to lay eggs. So if you start before the full moon, you may get some of those eggs out before they even lay them. And they can lay like hundreds of thousands of eggs. Like it's crazy. They can lay so many eggs. So you want to get as many of the parasites and eggs out as possible before they lay the eggs. And number three, parasites are really good at hiding. Like they're really good at evading detection and evading our efforts to kill them most of the time. So since they're kind of preoccupied with migrating and laying eggs around the time of the full moon, they're less occupied hiding themselves and like avoiding our efforts to get at them. So I just feel like they're the most concentrated in one spot, they're the most vulnerable, and they're the most distracted. during the full moon, if that makes sense. So those are the reasons that I do it during the full moon. Hopefully that makes sense. If you missed that explanation, I've done an explanation on my timeline. If you go on the playlists in my profile, there is a playlist for Q&A, like a Q&A playlist, and it's the second video, and I just give you those 3 reasons why I cleanse during the full moon, because it's science, right? So when people are like, you lost me at the full moon, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, it's science, so there it is. But anyway, so the full moon is coming up. It comes up every month, obviously. In March, it's going to be March 7th. And generally speaking, I have a 3-step protocol for my parasite cleanse. And I've come up with this 3-step protocol based on my experience and my research. In this, I've been researching for probably 15 years into root cause healing, gut health, the gut-brain connection, and parasites and the issues that they cause us and how to get rid of them. I got interested in it because I had this weird little rash that just kept popping up and I didn't know how to get rid of it. And I was already very interested in natural healing. And so that's kind of what led me down the path of parasites and the things that they can do. So rashes are a very telltale sign that you may have parasites. If you have like unexplained weird rashes that just keep popping up. So skin stuff can definitely be sleep problems, mental health issues, depression, anxiety, brain fog, psychiatric issues, all of these things. Digestive issues are a big one. Grinding your teeth, surprisingly, is a telltale sign of having parasites. So there's so many things that can alert us to the possibility or the potential that we do have parasites that are causing the problems that we're experiencing. So they can cause all kinds of problems, and they contribute to our body's toxicity by a lot. So I really think that they cause pretty much every problem that we have, especially if you define a parasite, as is the textbook definition, as something that steals your nutrients and poisons you, harms you from the inside. So by that definition, it can include pretty much anything that lives inside of us and hurts us and steals our nutrients. So it can be mold, it can be candida, yeast problems, overgrowth, SIBO, H. pylori, worms, obviously. It can be like any iteration of that. So there's lots of different types of parasites that can live inside of us. And pretty much the way to address all of them is to balance and strengthen your body. That's the bottom line of it. So the 3 steps that I talk about are what's the answer that you need? Easier just to block you than expect an answer. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what the question is, but go ahead and ask if you want to. I was just trying to explain some things. So basically the 3 steps that I talk about are: step 1 is a gut reboot. And you can find these steps in my links in the profile. So it goes by step 1, step 2, and step 3. I try to lay it out as simply as possible. So step 1 is a gut reboot, which basically opens detox pathways, supports the liver, supports the kidneys, and seals leaks in the gut. So this is what it looks like. It's a simple protocol. So if you go to step 1, it's pretty inexpensive, and it takes 3 days to go through. And it's like $16.95 with a $10 coupon that I've included in there. So it's very affordable. And actually, if you get the step 3, it'll usually come free with the step 3. So you can get step 1 and 3 at the same time from the same place. And the step 1 is included in the step 3. So basically, I think it's super important because we have to open our detox pathways and we have to seal the leaks in our gut to be able to then cleanse the parasites out. Then step 2 is the actual parasite cleanse, which, as I've explained, I do it over the full moon. If you missed the explanation about why I do it over the full moon, you can look at my playlist and the Q&A playlist in my profile, and it's the second video explaining why I do why I do it over the full moon. Please let me join your Facebook name. The name of the Facebook group is The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal, and it is linked in my profile. Okay, so someone asked that. All right, and then the step 3 is a gut healing protocol, because once you clean out parasites, basically you then need to replenish your gut with good bacteria to replace the bad things that have been flushed out, so that strengthens your body, that strengthens your immune system, and lets you fight off any future parasites. So the goal in step 3 is to replenish, strengthen, and increase your immunity against parasites in the future, okay? And so what I usually use for that, there's a couple of options based on, like, if you want to chat, I can help customize a step 3 for you. But what I have in there currently is a quad biotic and a thermogenic. And the reason I have those two things is because of the science behind them. So the quad biotic is, it's probiotic, prebiotic, phytobiotic, and postbiotic strains that basically there's a lot of science on liver support, gallbladder health, digestive support, skin health. It's a lot of different benefits, sleep, and it's just, they're really well-rounded strains. And I feel like those are going to kind of give you the best bang for your buck, basically, as far as like replenishing the gut and getting really good strains in there for balance and healing and health and digestion. And then the thermogenic is interesting because it's actually a newer product that I've just been researching. So I added it to the step 3 because it, first of all, it complements the quad biotic really well. It basically is several spices and herbs that, one of them is called grains of paradise. And I was looking up the benefits because one of my friends is pregnant, and basically she started taking it because it has also been shown to help heal the leaks in the gut. So step 1 and step 3, if you get this one, both help to heal, like seal the leaks in the gut, which can cause all kinds of problems. And that's kind of a whole different can of worms, and we can talk about that later. But sealing leaks in the gut is vital to healing, because if you are taking any herbs or eating any good foods and you have leaks in your gut, then like all of that stuff can leak into your bloodstream and your body attacks it like an invader. So that's how food allergies start, even anaphylactic ones. And that's how autoimmune issues start. Like really I think pretty much all autoimmune diseases start with leaky gut. So it's very important to seal leaks in the gut and to heal that before you do any cleanses. Because if you start to stir up toxins and kill parasites, then you have leaks in the gut, then those toxins can leak into your bloodstream and make you sick. So this is why I've chosen all 3 steps, because it's just very important. But back to my friend, she's pregnant. She wanted to address leaky gut because pregnancy can actually cause leaky gut. And so she was taking this thermogenic because it advertises that it seals leaks in the gut. Okay. And so she has done lots and lots of parasite cleanses in the past. She's been healing for a few years now, gotten really great success. She's still on her healing path. But basically, she's done lots of parasite cleanses, passed lots of parasites in the past, and she's pregnant now, not looking to pass any parasites at the moment, because obviously that's not the best idea while you're pregnant. So she just took this thermogenic to start, helping prevent leaky gut and to seal any leaks she may have in her gut from pregnancy and otherwise. And she passed huge worms, like bigger worms than she'd ever seen before. So she definitely was shocked, and she was like, I wasn't trying to pass any, I'm pregnant, right? She didn't want to do a cleanse. And so she was shocked because she's done all kinds of parasite cleansing, and these are the biggest worms she's ever seen. Okay. And it happened immediately. Like she took it and it happened like after the first time she took it. So we did a deep dive into the ingredients, and one of them is grains of paradise, and it's a spice that they use for cooking in Africa and it is also known as a dewormer. So that was the main ingredient that had caused her to pass those parasites. And since then, I've seen several other people talk about the same thing, like that they passed parasites after taking it, didn't expect to, but they saw something and they were like, what is this? And realized that it had caused them to pass parasites. So it's very interesting. It can gently and effectively remove pretty big parasites, as I'm seeing. And it's just like, so that's what I'm using. So I see Nenya Business is asking, what do I use to heal the gut? So I use step 3 to heal the gut. So if you look at my profile, I have step 1, step 2, and step 3. Step 1 is for opening detox pathways and sealing leaks in the gut. Step 2 is actually killing the parasites. I usually do that over the full moon because of the reasons I explained earlier. If you missed that, go to my profile to the Q&A and you can see video 2 talks about why I do it over the full moon, the scientific reasons why. And then step 3 is basically how to restore, replenish, heal the gut, and prevent the parasites from coming back. So I honestly think that everyone should do all 3 steps. And I know that most people skip straight to step 2 and just try to kill the parasites and think that's all they need to do. But if you do it that way and you've never killed parasites before, it's possible that you might get a Herxheimer reaction, which you may get sick, you may get a headache, you may get flu-like reactions because you haven't done the prep work. Step 1 is the prep work. You have to open the detox pathways. You have to support the liver and the kidneys. You have to seal the leaks in the gut before you do any of these things. So it's very important, and you will thank yourself later if you do step 1 before you do step 2. And I see someone asking how to do this gently. So I do get people asking me often, either they may be pregnant, they may be breastfeeding, they may be very sick, or feel like they have a very serious infestation or very severe parasitic infections. If that's the case, I'm happy to chat with you, first of all, so we can talk about that. But I believe that the gentlest, effective way to heal and replenish and also get rid of parasites is to do step 1 and step 3. So this is interesting because step 2 is where we kill the parasites. So most people skip to step 2 and that's the only thing that they do, right? But actually step 2 is the one that I would skip. If you have to skip any, I'd skip step 2, because actually step 1 and step 3 can eventually rid your body of parasites too. It's just more gentle and it would take longer, obviously, but it would strengthen your body and crowd the parasites out and make your body less hospitable to parasites overall. So most people will be able to pass parasites on step 1 and step 3 by themselves, even without step 2, without the actual parasite cleanse. And then that way, if you're in a compromised position, if you're already in a fragile state or very sick, or if you are breastfeeding and you don't want to do a full-on detox, then it's just a gentler way to be able to get the same results over time and to be able to start healing, right? Because a lot of times people are like, well, I need to do something, but I don't want to make it worse, make my sickness worse that I have, or if I'm, breastfeeding, I don't want to hurt my baby, all of those things. So there's options for people who are kind of concerned about the safety of doing it all at once, based on their medical state, or if they're, pregnant or breastfeeding. So hopefully that's helpful and that can answer your question. What questions do you guys have? I know someone had a question earlier. If you want to join my Facebook group, it's basically, we do a cleanse every month. I do it over the full moon. I explained why I do it on the full moon earlier. So look in my profile under the Q&A playlist, and the video number 2 explains why I do it over the full moon if you missed that. What if you're on strong medication? Yeah, doctors don't know. Yeah, they don't know about parasites. I mean, they know that they're a thing, but they think that they're super rare. So if you go to the doctor and you say, can you test me for parasites? The first thing they're probably going to do is say, I mean, that's dumb. You don't have parasites. Why do you want to test, right? The second thing they might do is like give you an antidepressant and say you're crazy because you think you have parasites. The third thing that they might do is give you the test for parasites and then say, yay, all clear, you don't have parasites. Because they only test for a few of them and there's like a million of them. So I honestly don't think that testing is the right way to go for most people because they are only looking for certain things. So the way testing works is they're looking for certain things. They're looking for certain markers in certain areas and certain parasites and certain infections that they cause. So if they do a test, they're not just looking for every parasite everywhere. They don't even know about all the parasites. So they're only going to test for a few things. And then if they tested the wrong spot or they tested for the wrong markers or there just aren't enough markers to show up on the test or they're testing for the wrong parasites, then it's just going to come up negative and they're going to say, okay, you don't have parasites. Too bad, so sad. We don't know what's wrong with you. Bye. Or give you an antidepressant or something. So I hear that over and over from people. I'm not just making that up. Like people tell me that all the time. Like they ask and either the doctor won't give them the test or they do the test and they say, you're clear, you're good, because they're only testing for a couple different kinds. So that's kind of, the doctor might laugh at you. Like, I mean, it's insane, like you go to the doctor for help and they, laugh at you or call you crazy or give you an antidepressant or whatever. It's pretty frustrating, because once you get into this, rabbit hole of root cause healing and you really understand that this is an issue, but then the doctor acts like you're stupid because you think so and because there's evidence for it. It is hard, and that's why a lot of people are turning to other modalities than, like Western conventional medicine at this point, because it's hard to get answers from those people, right? Like they just think that you're dumb for even asking the question. So yeah. As far as, medications, so it depends what's going on. If you're taking a lot of medication or something like very heavy hitting or that you're dependent on, we can chat. So I don't think in any case medicine is going to be a problem as far as healing or parasite cleansing. If there's a major problem, you could start with step 1 and step 3, and save step 2 for later. I do think that parasites cause most of the problems that we need medication for. So you got to start somewhere, right? Like you got to start healing somewhere. So everybody's different. Chronic fatigue and joint pain, parasites. I think so. In my opinion, parasites. Yeah. They cause all kinds of stuff like that. So you can definitely start healing. For joint pain specifically, a lot of people start with boron or borax. And I have a couple of videos on that. I actually have a recent video on me making the borax solution. So that may sound crazy, but look into it. There's a lot of people talking about it. Look on YouTube, look on TikTok, look in my profile. It's helped so many people. People in their 70s and 80s saying they feel like they're a teenager again in their joints because of this. So there's parasites in our joints. There's systemic parasites. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And this is the kind of stuff that, mainstream medicine can't really address at all. They just don't find anything in their tests, right? So yeah, if you need to chat, let's definitely chat. The best way to reach me is either there's a Google Voice number in my profile. You can text me there or get on Facebook. You can go to the Facebook group, The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. So you can join the group there and then we can message on Facebook, because TikTok, it's really hard to message on TikTok. I miss messages all the time. I need to go check them right now. But yeah, let's chat. Either one of those ways you would get a faster response from me, just to let you know. I'm now seeing a naturopath and she's hooking my daughter up for parasite testing. I'm done with doctors. Yeah. Naturopaths are definitely better. Though, Like I said, I'm just not a huge fan of testing. I think we should just all start healing. And there's just some really good ways to do that without all the testing. I don't think they're always necessary, but a lot of people like testing. So it's okay if you want to do it. It's just I would just be careful because sometimes they can lead us down the wrong path. Like if they don't pick up the things that we have, then it might lead us down, like it might like deceive us and make us think, oh, well, that's not my problem because the test said it was negative, right? Whereas it may have been like the test just wasn't very accurate, right? So so that's why I'm not a huge fan of testing. I've just seen it happen too many times, right? Yeah. So yeah, we can chat. I didn't know borax helped that. I started using it 2 days ago. Yeah. So keep me posted on your results with borax and boron. I hope that does help with your joints. Let's see. I'm convinced it's parasite. It's just my doctor said I am crazy. I am reaching. I just bought borax. Yeah. See, I mean, we know this stuff. There's so much science for it, but the doctors don't know. And then they think we're stupid or crazy for even asking. That's what's frustrating about, conventional medicine these days. They don't want to lose patients. That's money they lose. That's true. That's true. If we heal by ourselves, then we're not sick anymore and we don't go to them because we don't trust them anymore. Borax, so all the different antiparasitics kill different things and they target different things. Borax helps adjust pH in the body. It's alkaline, so it helps with acidity. It targets those parasites in the joints, specifically like hip joints, any joints really. I've seen it help strengthen bone. It helps with a lot of things. Boron is actually an essential nutrient, so it's a good thing to take regardless. In my bio, I have links to both borax, which you can actually get in the laundry aisle of any grocery store, and also boron supplements on Amazon. So look in step 2 in my links. And I've got both of those linked in there. It's just an Amazon store. So I've just put the antiparasitics and the binders and other things I've used in there so that you can just grab them if you want to off of Amazon. But yeah, so borax helps with a lot of stuff, like a lot. I've seen it help with stomach issues and digestive issues. It just depends what your issues are. So yeah, it helps with lots of things. No one antiparasitic is going to kill all of them. So I like to alternate them every time I do a cleanse. I typically personally will do a parasite cleanse, maybe once a quarter, maybe 3 times a year, something like that. I don't do it every month, but I do kind of maintain in between. So that's where that step 3 comes in. I try to maintain my results by, strengthening my gut balance with really good probiotics and other herbs and nutrients and that kind of thing. So I've been able to maintain really well that way. So I'm just kind of using my experience and my research to help you guys go straight to the most effective, easiest, safest way to do it. I'm not necessarily the expert with all the education on this, but I've done tons of research and looked at lots of studies and done it myself enough to know this is what's worked, this is what hasn't worked. I've worked with lots of people doing it, and so I have a lot of experience knowing what it helps with and how people can improve and that kind of thing. Yeah, so I mean, my background is I studied engineering as a college student, and then I got a master's degree in intercultural studies, and I lived in China for 2 years. So I've got lots of different things that I've done in my life, but I'm very scientific minded. So when I get interested in something, I just dive in and start researching it, and I look at scientific studies, and I look at anecdotal evidence, and I look at articles, and I just try to look at a well-rounded perspective on the thing and try to discern the truth out of it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. So obviously, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, and I just want to share what works here. And what's worked for a lot of people. So definitely, do your own research and figure out like what's going to work best for you based on your symptoms and what you know about yourself and that kind of thing. Borax. Boron is an essential nutrient. Actually, we don't get it as much from our food anymore because our soil is depleted. So we should be getting it from our food, but we're not. Borax is a salt. It is a sodium, like a sodium borate molecule. So our body breaks it down into salt and boron is an essential nutrient. So we need it, actually. If you don't want to take borax, which I totally understand, I was pretty skeptical about that at the beginning too, but you can totally look up on YouTube or here on TikTok, people talking about it, people who have taken it for years, the results people have gotten, that kind of thing. If you still don't want to take borax, totally understand. In my profile link under step 2, I have a boron supplement, like little capsules from Amazon. Feel free to get it that way because we do need boron. So let's see, the test for parasites is $400. Yeah, that's the thing. So like, that is the thing, right? Like, and this is why I get frustrated with tests, especially like parasite tests and like food allergy tests and those kind of things. Like some people really want to do those so they know what they're dealing with. But the thing is, the test isn't going to heal you. And sometimes it's wrong. Like often it's wrong. So, or it's at least misleading at the very least. And they're usually out of pocket. Like sometimes insurance covers it. Sometimes it covers part of it. But the test itself is hundreds of dollars, and then you still have to do something to heal it, right? So what I like to do is kind of a diagnostic thing. Like I like to say, okay, well, what are you dealing with? What are your symptoms? When did they start? Like what's going on? Like doctors used to do, right? And then say, okay, well, what could have maybe caused this? And let's address that, right? Like let's start there and let's heal this from the root. Like let's get under all those symptoms and figure out what's going on here, right? And so, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I've done this a lot. And so I've got a pretty good idea of like where to start and how to do it safely and how to do it effectively. Right. So, and less expensive, right? Like, so if you can spend $100 or $150 on something natural that's going to strengthen your immune system and solve your problem, then wouldn't you rather do that than $400 on a test that's not going to heal you? I mean, that's just my perspective. Right. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Can do the borax bath soaks. Yeah, I put it in my bath too. That's really good. I have a website. It's called freedomandcoffee.com, freedomandcoffee.com, and I have a detox bath recipe there. So if you want to check that out, you can. I also have a recent article right at the top about all of this that I'm talking about, like the 3 steps of a parasite cleanse. So if you missed some of it, you can go back and I have a whole summary of everything I'm talking about there, freedomandcoffee.com. And if you want to join the parasite group, it's on Facebook and it's called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. It's also linked in my profile. Borax is harmless if taken in the right dosage. It's not only harmless, it's super beneficial. I did a video recently on me making the borax solution that I use. It's basically a quart jar and I put a tablespoon of borax in there and it dissolves over about 24 hours until it's completely dissolved. And I just take like a tablespoon or 2 of that solution every day and I put it in my coffee. So you don't taste it at all. It's just like, it kind of tastes salty or maybe a little sulfury. It's basically a salt. So a type of salt. Let's see, how much and how many times a day? Of what? Borax. So the borax solution I take every day, 1 time a day, usually a couple tablespoons of that solution that I just described. 1 quart of water to 1 tablespoon of borax, stir it up. It takes about 24 hours to fully dissolve into the solution. And then I just start slow. So start with less than like maybe a teaspoon at first and put it in something to drink and then work your way up. But I usually now I just kind of splash it into my coffee. So I get maybe a few tablespoons of that solution at a time. And the solution is an entire jar of water with 1 tablespoon of borax in it, dissolved. Okay. And yes, borax is really good in the bath, so do that too. It made me feel achy. I started taking the binders and curcumin with it, and it helped. Did the borax make you feel achy? The reason is because the parasites are in your joints. So yeah, it can make your joints ache while they're dying, but it does help. I've seen it heal people of arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, all kinds of stuff. And like, it's just overall really beneficial. So hopefully that was helpful. Let's see. Yes, this is my frustration with functional medicine. I love our new doctor, but the costs, yeah. I mean, it's so hard because like in our medical system, like they incentivize us to go to the conventional doctors, but then we go to the conventional doctors and they can't solve our problems, right? They just throw meds at us. So, I'm just speaking out of experience and how many people I've talked to that have had this experience. But I mean, if you have something like chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia or anything that's like an elusive thing that's just like plaguing you and you don't know what it is, and you go in and tell them, then they either don't believe you or they give you some nebulous diagnosis and maybe some pain meds. And it's not going to solve the problem. You know what I mean? Like they're not solving our problems at this point, right? And so we're paying all this money every month for insurance, and then we can't afford to see real doctors, right? We can't afford to see people that are going to help us or buy, real food supplements that are actually going to get to the heart of our issues. So, I mean, I could go on all day about insurance and the medical system at this point. It's just very frustrating to me. So I understand that it's so hard. You want to see a natural doctor, and the out-of-pocket costs are astronomical. And then the testing, like someone else mentioned, a test is $400 out of pocket. This is insane. Like, why can't we just heal at this point? We have all this insurance and it costs so much every month, and we have all these huge hospitals everywhere, but they're not helping us. It's insane. So yeah, I could go on all day about that stuff. I would make sure to take binders and heavy metal detox. I did it wrong. Yes, binders are very important. And when we do kill parasites, they hoard heavy metals. So when we kill parasites, it can release heavy metals into our guts and into our bloodstream. So that's why binders are super important, just like they're saying here. And so what I use for binders is I use chlorella and diatomaceous earth and activated charcoal and bentonite clay. Those are the 4 binders I usually turn to. I don't use them all the time. Diatomaceous earth is also a very good anti-parasitic. It can also scrub out the biofilm, the toxic biofilm that can line our guts when we have parasites. It's a lot to explain, but maybe I'll do a few more videos of explanation on biofilm and that kind of thing. Parasites like to create this like toxic mucus that we call biofilm, and it can line the inside of our guts, and it can prevent nutrient absorption, and it kind of poisons us from the inside, kind of gums us up and causes digestive issues. So there's good biofilm disruptors that you can take, such as diatomaceous earth, which is a physical one. It can scrub out the biofilm and also kill the parasites. And there's others like enzymes that can kind of break it up and flush it out, that kind of thing. So there's just a lot. There's so much to say. But let's see. Yeah, binders are super important. So anytime you do a parasite cleanse, definitely get binders, some type of binders. I've done some videos on binders, so if you want to look in my profile, step 2, you can find a video on binders there. I think it's like the 6th one down in my step 2 playlist on my profile. Let's see. I'd rather take what she's talking about in an easier, gentler way. Yes, that's what I've found. And it's, the ingredients are whole foods and like herbs, and they're sourced well. So detox bath. Yes. So I have a recipe to a detox bath on my website. It's called freedomandcoffee.com. So go to freedomandcoffee.com and just search bath, and it'll pop up. And there's more that you can put in there that I didn't mention, but you can put like borax and diatomaceous earth in your bath too, stuff like that. So you can put a lot of stuff in the bath. And baths are great to do during a parasite cleanse too. It can just like, help the healing and pull more stuff out of your skin, basically. So detox that way. Prerequisites before starting a parasite cleanse. Yeah, look in my profile. There's a link and it's got a list of links once you click that. And I have step 1, step 2, and step 3. Okay, so step 1 is basically the prerequisite to any parasite cleanse. Step 2 is a list of antiparasitics that I've used and also the binders and other things that I've used. And step 3 is maintenance. So that prevents the parasites from growing back. Okay, the problem with doing a parasite cleanse without doing anything afterwards, without replenishing the gut bacteria and restoring the balance and helping your body to strengthen and be less hospitable to parasites, is they will grow right back. Like they will come right back. And so I've heard people say, oh, it doesn't, I did Paragard or I did this parasite cleanse and I felt so great for like a month and then I feel terrible again. It didn't work. And I'm like, well, it did work. It did work, but they came back. That's what they do. They come right back. So that's why I have a step 3. So make sure you look at step 1, step 2, and step 3 if you don't want them to just grow back as fast as you can kill them. Because it's just how it is. It's like we have to live our lives fighting these things off. It's kind of terrible, but yeah, it's kind of the way it is. And it's just a healthy lifestyle, basically, right? Like you take good supplements, eat a good diet, do a regular cleanse once a quarter or whatever, and you can maintain. You can be healthy, okay? And it's much better than the alternative, right? Okay. Yeah, I think it's the easiest way. I think it is, and it's the most effective way and the safest way is to do all 3 of those steps. Activated charcoal is a great binder. I like it. Sometimes I just use our activated charcoal, so you can definitely do that. Yeah. The way that I usually take activated charcoal is before I go to bed at night. So if I'm doing a parasite cleanse and I know that I'm stirring things up, I'll take activated charcoal before I go to bed at night. And then basically, like if I'm feeling any kind of way during the parasite cleanse, so like, for example, last month I was doing a parasite cleanse and on the day, I think it was the day of the full moon, I started feeling a headache coming on. So I ran into my pantry and got 2 capsules of the activated charcoal, took them, and 10 minutes later it was completely gone and I didn't get a headache at all. So that's kind of how it works. It just knocks stuff out. If you start feeling nauseous, if you start feeling weird, if you get some brain fog or you feel like a headache's coming on, take the binder. Yeah, or just take it at night and that helps your body detox while you're sleeping, okay? Yeah, they over-medicate with antidepressants. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I do think that these like chronic illnesses and autoimmune issues such as Lyme, fibromyalgia, lupus, I think all of these things are parasitic driven. So I'm hoping that we can help a lot of people to find answers and, start healing this way. I do believe that for sure. Let's see what else. Can you mix borax and diatomaceous earth? Yes, you can. You can. I'm doing my first cleanse next week with Parafy and fulvic acid drops. Do I still need? I don't understand the question. What's the question? Let me see if you have any other. So Parafy, I'm going to try that soon. I think she's sending me some of that and I'm going to try it. So that's an herbal cleanse as far as I understand. So that it may be strong. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it yet, but definitely have some binders on hand. It looks like you have fulvic acid. I'm not a huge fan of fulvic acid. I will say because a lot of times it's contaminated with heavy metals. So just check the COA and make sure that it doesn't have any heavy metals in it. But there's a couple reasons I don't like fulvic acid. When it's combined with chlorine, it creates formaldehyde, and I think that our exposure to chlorine is so huge these days that that's just a big risk. And I just think that there's other binders that you can use. So I don't personally use fulvic acid. And I'm not sure what the question is, so let me know if you have a question. Can you mix? Yeah, I did that. 57 and never a detox of any kind. Suggestions for the first time. Yeah, look up, if you want, come join my group and we can chat too if you want. But on Facebook, I have a group that I do a group cleanse once a month. It's called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. And there's a link to it in my profile. So you can go click that and just request to join and put like why you want to join. And then I will accept you and we can chat there if you want to. I usually suggest for a first cleanse is the frozen castor oil cleanse. So you would do step 1, which is the gut reboot. Step 2, I would do the frozen castor oil cleanse. In addition to probably eating pumpkin seeds and a binder. And then you do step 3 to maintain, okay, and heal further. So that would be you can look at my profile and see step 1, step 2, and step 3, like that, the links to that too. But if you're confused or you want further information, come join the group. The link to the group's in my profile, or we can chat. Preferably on Facebook or Google Voice. The number is in my link. It's just harder to chat here on TikTok. I'm trying to see what other questions I have. Let me see. Yeah, I know. Some people like fulvic acid, and I have seen good science on it. It's just, I just don't think it's worth the risk. There's plenty of other things you can use, you know? So that's just my perspective and what I do personally. It's really expensive too. Let's see what else. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome. I'm glad it's helpful. Does activated charcoal bind to medication or antipsychotic? Yes, it does. It does. So what you have to do is take it at least 2 hours removed from any medication or other supplements. So activated charcoal will bind to literally anything. Yeah. So do not take it with medication. Usually I take it before bed, but if you have to take like a medication right before you go to bed, don't take it at bedtime. You can take it probably an hour before. I don't know. Just try to take it 2 hours removed from any medication that you need to take. And also supplements, because it will bind to stuff. So just keep that in mind with charcoal. Also bentonite clay will do that too. It will bind to pretty much anything, but chlorella does not. So if you need a binder that doesn't bind to medication, try chlorella. You mentioned wanting to use, I have links too. So if you want to look at my step 2 links in my bio, it's an Amazon store. So you can find that stuff in there. You mentioned wanting to use a different brand of castor oil caps for freezing. What brand is that? I'm using the Heritage brand now. So if you look in my profile, I linked to it in the Amazon store under step 2. So you can find it there. Can you talk about withdrawal? Withdrawal from what? I'm not sure what the withdrawal is from. Safe to do a gut reboot while pregnant. So I have to give a disclaimer here. The ingredients, I would do my own research and quote unquote check with your doctor. The ingredients are not harmful. They have not been shown harmful. So that's all I'm really allowed to say. I do have friends who have done the reboot while pregnant and they have gotten really good results. If you're not comfortable with it, yeah, I'd go to step 3. You can definitely do step 3 while pregnant. You mentioned wanting to use a different brand. I saw that one. How do you use the diatomaceous earth? Okay, so I get a huge bag on Amazon. Again, step 2 in my links in my profile. And it's very cheap, lasts forever. I take personally, so with diatomaceous earth, you also want to start slow if you've never done it before. So just put a little bit in a cup of water and drink that and see how you feel. If you feel any die off, take a binder. And then, you know, if you feel fine, then next time, like the next day or whenever, use a little bit more. Personally, I'll use like a heaping teaspoon of diatomaceous earth in a glass of water and drink it that way. So that's how I do it. You can do it in the morning on an empty stomach or at night or whatever. There's different ways to do it, but you can kind of drink that whenever. Let's see. Activated charcoal powder, huge mistake. Oh, yeah. It's very messy and it's black and hard to clean up. So the capsules are just easier. They're more expensive, but they're easier. What you can do though, since you have the powder, is you can just put it in water and drink the water. That's fine. You can put it in lemonade. It doesn't really have much of a taste, so it just makes it black. But you can still take it that way. And you can put it in your bath if you want. Let's see. Just trying to see if there's any more questions. I don't want to stay on here all day, but I'm gonna try to do lives every day or almost every day. I'm gonna try, and then I'll also go back because TikTok saves these, and so I'll go back and clip some of them and put them in my profile, like in my feed. So you may be able to catch some of the things that you missed. If you want to, just stay tuned and follow me. I'm praying Parasite Cleanse works. Yeah. So there's a lot of mental illness that parasites cause. It's a thing. Yeah. That's pretty much all I'm going to say. But there's a lot. They can cause all kinds of like ideation, even like wanting to unalive yourself, like stuff like that. I've seen a lot of mental illness caused by parasites. It's crazy, like insane. So seriously, definitely do it. We might want to chat though, like just to make sure you do it like safely and like get started in the right way. And definitely use binders. Yeah, depending on the situation and how old your son is and stuff. But come join the group, the Parasite Cleanse group. It's called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal on Facebook. And there's a link to it in my bio. And then we can chat over there if you want. Binder for Parasite Cleanse. I'm just trying to see if I got all the questions. If you have a question I didn't answer, you can definitely put it here. I'm going to get off in a minute. Cancer, I think, is always parasitic. I think it's always parasitic. Always. I do. I believe that. So that's how I'd address it personally. Blood in the stool, is that considered a parasite? It's probably caused by a parasite. There are some that are kind of like leeches inside of you and they suck on your blood, and they can cause iron deficiency and B vitamin deficiency and D vitamin, all kinds of deficiencies. They can cause deficiencies. So if you have deficiencies, that's probably also like leaky gut and or parasites. The clay as a binder, I just take, use a wooden spoon. If you can, don't use a metal spoon because it'll kind of like bind to the metal on the utensils. So use a wooden spoon, and I usually just put a spoonful in a cup of water and let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then I just stir it and down it. And I usually take it at night before I go to bed. And don't take that near medications or other supplements because it will bind to those and make them less effective. Do parasite cleanses not clean out the biofilm, or does the diatomaceous earth work better? Some of them do. Diatomaceous earth is a physical cleanser of biofilm. It basically scrubs it physically because it's like sharp. And I've explained why that's not dangerous. But basically it just scrubs the biofilm away and also cuts the parasites. So it's like a physical dewormer basically. I think that everybody should take diatomaceous earth, honestly. It also has really good silica in it, and silica is really good for a lot of things, hair, skin, and nails, and it's also good for binding aluminum in the body. So it can detox aluminum from your body. Silica and aluminum like each other. Let's see. You can also take systemic enzymes to disrupt biofilm, so I'll look that up if you want to. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad this is helpful. Use DE for slug control, slices up their bodies, lots of uses. Yes, that's right. And it's also a good dewormer for animals. So you can give it to your dogs and cats and chickens and farm animals and stuff. Tinctures, castor oil, frozen pills. Yeah, okay, well, keep me updated on how well you do with the tinctures. I think for most people, great first cleanse is that frozen castor oil one. I've done a couple of videos on that. If you look in my profile in the step two playlist. I'm getting tired, so I'm gonna have to go. I can't think straight. But yeah, And the tinctures, so tinctures are made from herbs, and there's just a list of herbs that they use as standard, like clove and wormwood and green walnut and that kind of thing. They are very effective, but they're a little bit harsh. So if you've never done a parasite cleanse before, I don't really recommend you using those herbal tinctures for your very first cleanse, just because they can cause some pretty severe die-off. So I would save that for, maybe the second or third time you do a parasite cleanse. Yes, starting around the full moon. Yeah, I usually start a few days before and go a few days after. So the cleanses I do are typically 5 to 7 days, and they're centered on the full moon. So the center day of the cleanse is the full moon. Can parasites cause anxiety? Absolutely. Absolutely. They can cause anxiety, panic attacks, fear, psychotic breaks. They can cause ideation. They can cause all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, it's insane how much they can affect our mental health. They absolutely can cause anxiety. Fenben. Okay, so Fenben is a pharmaceutical. I know it's a dog dewormer or whatever. You get it at the vet. And people have used it to cure cancer, which is great. I think that's amazing. I don't recommend it for your everyday person. If you have stage 4 terminal cancer and you're going to die, then I am not going to fault you for taking Fenben. I think that's fine. Obviously, save your life, right? Ivermectin, Fenben, I put those in the same category. So personally, I don't take them, and I don't recommend that anyone take them unless it's basically a life or death situation. And the reason for that is basically I put them in the same category as pharmaceutical antibiotics. Whereas they go in and they kill kind of everything, right? So they kill the good and the bad, and they can just lead to kind of severe gut imbalance in the long run. So our goal here is balance, and it's putting more good in and just getting the bad out, okay? So if you use pharmaceuticals of any type, it's going to cause imbalance, and it's going to kill the good and the bad. So they're just like harsher than I like to use. So some people use them and they like them, and that's totally fine. Everybody can make their own decision. I just personally don't like using pharmaceuticals pretty much ever. So yeah, that's just my opinion on it. But I have seen those amazing stories where people have, cured their terminal cancer and they're only given a couple weeks to live or something, and then they come back using these things, because I do think that cancer is parasitic, and I do think that that's how you get rid of it. So that's true, like if you're in that kind of dire situation, then totally use it, but for us, people just trying to prevent disease and trying to heal naturally, I would recommend the natural options, because I think that they're just as effective probably, and they're safer, and they're more sustainable, and they don't cause massive imbalance in your gut in the long run. What's the Church of Scientology? I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm not a Scientologist. Paranoia, yeah, they can cause paranoia. Yeah, I think all like psychotic and mental health issues, they can cause them. What intestinal detox do you do before you start if you have constipation? If you look at my profile, there's a step 1, step 2, and step 3. The step 1 is a gut reboot, and that's what I recommend before any cleanse, especially parasite cleanse. So check my profile link for that. I think I got all those. That's a good question. Where'd you get your medical degree? Yeah, I'm not a shill, so glad you showed up on my FYP. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. What's good to help constipation before starting a cleanse? Go to step 1. Step 1 helps with that because it opens detox pathways, it supports the liver and kidneys, and it seals leaky gut. So that should help to open all of that up for you. Just joining one to start. Where do you recommend starting a family of 3? So I have a Facebook group. It's called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. There's a link to it in my profile, so you can go there, click that, and find the link to that group, and then you can just click to join. I lead a group cleanse every month on the full moon for scientific reasons, as I explained earlier. There's a video about that in my profile under the Q&A. It's video number 2, talking about why I do it on the full moon. So we can either chat on Facebook and I can give you the options. There's different things to do depending on what's going on and how old your kids are and that kind of thing. I do think everybody can do step 1 and step 3, and there's a kids version of step 3 too. So it depends how old the kids are and that kind of thing, like what kind of parasite cleanse they might want to do. That's step 2. This is healing people. It's a real thing. Everyone has parasites and this helps. Absolutely. I think we can all learn and we can all research and we can all read studies and we can all heal ourselves. I don't think that that is relegated to the medical industry or people who have a pharmaceutical degree in medical school. I really don't. First, try to use food-grade diatomaceous earth. Yes, chemo and radiation cause so much damage, and I don't think that they're necessary because I think cancer is all parasites. So I think if we do targeting the parasites, that we can get at it that way. Wormwood tea is good. Yeah, that's a good herbal anti-parasitic. So anyway, just to wrap up real quick, because I've been on for a while, in my profile, there's a link. It's got lots of resources. I've got step 1, step 2, and step 3. Step 1 is for kind of an intestinal detox, a gut reboot that opens up detox pathways, supports the liver and kidneys, seals leaks in the guts. That's step 1. Step 2 is the actual parasite cleanse. I usually do this over the full moon for good reasons. Step 3 is the maintenance, which prevents the parasites from growing back. It strengthens your body. It changes the environment of your inner body and strengthens you so that the parasites can't take over again, basically. So that's the 3 steps. You can find them in my profile. In my profile, you can also find the group that I lead, that we do a group cleanse every month. It's coming up pretty soon, but you can probably catch the next one. It comes up every month. So just start getting your supplies now, and then you can participate in the next one. The group link is also in my bio, and it's on Facebook. It's called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. I also have a website. It's called freedomandcoffee.com. So the first article you'll see there is basically a rundown of everything I've just talked about, all written out, and there's some videos linked explaining things, and some other articles too. So if you search bath, you can find a detox bath recipe, that kind of thing. So I hope you all had a great weekend, and I'm glad you're here. Talk to you soon. Bye.